So we're here for some Brutiful Tales. So obviously the word is a combination of beautiful and brutal. And it all started at the end of my trip to the occupied state of Palestine with Sabeel-Kairos and the Influencer Project. There's Claire and there's Lana, both of whom have spoken with me on the stage as part of my Brutiful Tales journey. Nadia, could you see something? Have you got your glasses on? May they be related? So we climbed this, beautiful St. John church clock tower, and we absolutely howled to see Sawalha graffiti in the clock tower. Does it? Well, I laughed a lot because I sent the photos to your sister, Dina, and said, oh, there's Sawalha graffiti. Must be a relation? She said, yeah, well, it's where my dad was born. So I'm mentioning this because their dad, Nadeem Sawalha, who you may remember was the Cinzano advert at the time with Joan Collins' drink down the... Yeah? Who remembers that advert? Right, good. My dad was their optician. So many, many years ago, that is the connection. And, you know, life really is all about connection. It's just incredible that I'm, you know, in my mid-50s nearly, and all those almost 50 years later, here we are in a room together. And here I have been on this journey with you and your sister, who's also very creative. Really, you can't plan these things. Life is truly the best of planners. It's one of the beautiful things in life. So we had, before we went into the occupied state of Palestine, we had a bonus day walking around the beautiful town of Madaba in Jordan. This is actually, as it says, the oldest surviving map of the Holy Land in existence. And it was incredible to see it. It really was quite funny that it was under rehabilitation and restoration because, of course, we're about to go into the occupied state of Palestine and, well, everything needs to be rehabilitated and restored there, I believe, especially in Gaza. So I'm very grateful to Claire, who is here in the room with us. Give us a wave, Claire. Claire is the organizer of the Influencer Project for Sabeel-Kairos. And if you'd like to take any photos, you can. Oh, I forgot the bit about drawing. Did anybody bring pen and paper with them? If you'd like to be visually responding to anything you see and hear, like all of those people did already, then please get your pen out and your paper out and write words or doodle or... you know, anything that you feel that comes naturally. You could do this at home as well and email that to me as well if you prefer. This was our itinerary. Do take photographs of anything. These were the organizations that we met. Each one of these organizations, when we asked them, what can we do for you when we go back home? They said, please share our story. So that is what I am here doing. As a playful creative, I was overjoyed that we were able to perform on our second night in Jerusalem at the Al-Mamal Community Foundation with Jake from the Shan Vans. Some of you activists here may have heard of the Shan Vans and the Solidarity single that they've done, the Shan Van. And we were able to perform to a packed room. And the beauty of that was 17 months of no joy, no singing, no laughter. These people were weeping their thanks to us and hugging us because we brought our energy and our passion and our love to them. And they were all up on their feet dancing by the end of that evening. There were so many hugs and tears that evening. Our Maison Abraham in the top left there is where we stayed, overlooking the Al-Aqsa Mosque. And here I am having a chat with the librarian, asking him actually whether he's got my dad's book in the Al-Aqsa library. My dad translated the Al-Muhtazar, which is an 800-year-old book. He translated that from Arabic to English. You could look that up or ask me about it. It's on the Islamic sciences. It's a very important book, and this chap is actually buying some copies for the library. So that was what was happening in that conversation. You know, promoting, doing my bit, selling. And there, speak of the devil, my dear father. You know, he's the Palestinian in the family. So my mother was German, Italian, and actually Russian. I always forget to say that. There's Russian in the history somewhere. You know, I don't understand racism. I really, truly don't. I'm such a mix. Why? It's such a shame. So my dear father and my grandparents, who left Yaffa 2 months before the Nakba in 1948. He had an inkling of what was to come, so he left. They also, like many, buried the family jewels under a brick in the kitchen floor, so who knows whether they're still there or not. But in honor of my father, and in honor of my ancestors, you know, he always said, resolve the problem in Palestine and watch many of the world's problems disappear. And that's what we're seeing. This since October the 7th, so much has unraveled and become clear. Would you agree? Yes, yeah. There's so much we're seeing. So, you know, Dad, inshallah, we will see this come to pass in our lifetime, that we'll make it better for the good of the whole. I truly also feel that the abuse is also on the Israeli people, that this way of being, this absolute choice to have a path of destruction, is an insult and an assault and an abuse on your entire population, not just us and the rest of the world. So it affects everybody. It affects everybody, whether we're here in Sutton or they're in Gaza or in the Congo or in Australia, Aborigines. It affects us all. We visited Silwan, and my homeland is not a suitcase, and I am no traveller. I am the lover, and the land is the beloved, Mahmoud Darwish. And thanks to Claire for these following slides on Silwan. The staring eyes say to people that we see them and they should see us too. We want to say that we are here. We love our land and our home. And you know, these homes are being destroyed. They want to take these homes to build a park. King David Park, is that right, Claire? Was it King David Park? That's what they want to do. Some of these homes, the ones with the eyes on, are marked for demolition. So these eyes are eyes of famous people. So George Floyd, none of the names come to my head right now, but many people that we would know and recognize. And some of the entrances to these houses are actually shared between the Palestinians who own these homes and the Israeli families that are trying to take them over and saying, no, the Ottoman law doesn't apply here. This is our home. You don't belong here. Fakhri Abu Diab, his home was demolished. It cost him $9,000. Well, he hasn't paid, but they wanted to charge him $9,000 for the privilege. They turned up in the middle of the night, unannounced. His wife was in her nightie, and they just kicked them out. The soldiers were hungry. She had to feed them. 1,500 people will be homeless. There is a hashtag Save Al Bustan if you'd like to go and look that up on Instagram. Fakhri actually gets into quite a lot of trouble because, of course, he's not silent about what's happened to him and his family home and the destruction. And rightly so. And that's why I'm here raising my voice. And you see this little silk banner here, raise your voice. 115 years ago now, how long? The suffragettes, the women, the right to vote, they raised their voices. And look what happened. They won the right to vote. People died. We must raise our voices. You must find that courage in you and raise your voice from here, from your heart space. You don't have to raise your voice with, I can't function on the anger. That's why I ended up doing what I was doing and creating my silk banners, because I had to tune into my creative energy, to be coming from here, from my heart space, to communicate with everyone. And like Nadia said, it's reaching not the 10,000 activists in the room. Who's been on the march today? Put your hand right up in the air. Bless you. It's not reaching these people. It's reaching everyone who hasn't been going on the march or who isn't sure. So thank you all so much for being here and listening and hearing. So the Brutiful Tales project, as Nadia was saying, I have a saying, they use weapons of mass destruction, division, and distraction. The antidote, be a weapon of mass creation. And we are all weapons of mass creation. So tune into that and use that energy and use it for the good of the whole. So now Brutiful Tales is a creative activism project that seeks to amplify Palestinian voices and co-create silk murals and connect communities between here and there. I have a project upcoming online on the 1st of July with Siraj Libraries, the first online Brutiful Tales with Palestine. You know, it's humanizing them, isn't it? These are human beings. Who says we have to dehumanize these people? Are these not just like you and me, these people? They're working, creating, living, needing to eat, needing a home. Who has the right to dehumanize anyone? And whoever that person is, that's the definition of human cruel. And don't ever doubt that. You know, we've really got to trust our gut, our instinct. And that's taken away from a very young age. Curiosity killed the cat. No, it bloody didn't. Curiosity makes us not subservient and go, oh, yes, sir, please, sir, yes, sir, you're right, sir. Oh, yeah, I'll go jump off the cliff, sir. No. Okay? So be humankind in capital letters. Be humankind. It's all a community needs. We can all be different. We don't have to be the same. We don't have to look the same. We don't have to think the same. We can disagree on the politics. All of that. It doesn't matter. But we have to have kindness and empathy. And you know, love and life is beautiful. When you choose that path of creation and hope, and it's simple, really. You don't need religion to tell you that. And religion is so divisive. And that brings me on nicely. Religion is divisive. That's why the Reverend Mitri set up the Dar al-Kalima University, because he realized how divisive religion and politics are. So he decided to focus on art and culture to unite people and do positive things through, it started as a community group and then became a college and then became a university. And you know, some of these students have 12-hour journeys because of all the checkpoints. Imagine your day. You've got to go to work in London. Well, you're not going to go, are you? You're going to stay put, right? 200 checkpoints. I'm really delighted to have visited the Dar al-Kalima University. This exhibition is actually by their students. That's their head of art, Rahab Nazal. This middle one, I don't know if I can say this without crying. Who knows Hind Rajab? Who knows the story of Hind Rajab? Put your hand right up in the air. Wow. So for those who don't know the story of Hind Rajab, she was shot 355 bullets or 35. I mean, you know, when it's over one, who's counting? 355 bullets. Tanks surrounded her car. They'd shot her family first. They killed the ambulance crew that came to rescue her. She was on the phone. This is documented. You can hear it anywhere. Just look up Hind Rajab. You hear the girl speaking to the lady on the phone. I'm scared. I'm scared. No, my parents are dead. They're all dead. They're all dead. 355 bullets. Yallah. Raise your voice, okay? It's inhuman. I wouldn't wish this on an Israeli. You know, I wouldn't wish this on Benjamin Netanyahu. I really, truly wouldn't. It's a fault of mine. The worst I can get is, may the guilty be humiliated in this life and the next. That's about as strong as I can go. So, that is an artwork about Hind Rajab, and you now understand why. That's her little dress and all the bullet holes. So, the journey. Where are we? We're at June the 21st. Woohoo, summer solstice. Beautiful, beautiful. Is it raining outside or did the sun come back out? You don't know? Okay. Did it stop raining? Cool, because we're going to be heading up to the rooftop soon. July the 1st, you've already heard about Siraj Libraries. 3 dates to be confirmed. The Art to Heart and An-Najah University, that's a disability arts program. Now, I'm going to mention that briefly. Just take a photo and really just follow the Instagram Brutiful Tales, because it's much easier for me. There is a mailing list over here on the desk, actually, so do leave an email or a WhatsApp a number if you'd like to hear from me. I can add you to my SamiArt mailing list. Don't worry, I've only ever sent 4 mail-outs from that website in 17 years, so you're not going to be bombarded, okay? And I'm mentioning Art to Heart because the beautiful dress that I'm wearing and the cover, the connection to Art to Heart is Rachel Gadsden. She lives in Rains Park. She's done, over the last 9 years, she's done so many beautiful projects, disability arts projects with people in Hebron, in the West Bank. She's very well known. She did the Paralympics opening ceremony. She's huge, absolutely huge. I called her several weeks ago. Oh, Rachel, I don't know about this project. Do you really think I should be doing... Well, 2 hours later, with Rachel Gadsden. Oh my God, what a woman. We have such a natural connection. She's beautiful. She has a hidden disability. You wouldn't think anything to see her. She's got a machine. Without the machine, she'd just collapse. Brilliant, brilliant lady. Samia, you're so authentic. If anyone has a right to be doing this project, it's you. You are half Palestinian. You're a playful creative. You naturally embody this whole thing. It's what you've been working to your entire life. And honestly, synchronicity, the synchronicity in this journey to now, for me personally, is another talk entirely. At the end of the phone call, I met online, through Facebook, one of the artists that Rachel had been working with, Ali Ashur, who's based in Hebron. Well, he was, because he passed away not long ago. He had issue with his liver and couldn't get the dialysis that he needed. And at the end of the phone call, I received a message from Rachel straight away with a photograph of this beautiful dress. I've taken the top off because it's actually just quite warm in here. Samia, Ali and I worked on a project together. He gave me this this machine-embroidered Palestinian thobe from Hebron as a gift to wear at the opening, but I'm so much shorter than you are, and I didn't want to ruin the bottom and cut off the design, and I've never wanted to part with it. But you've inspired me so much with your project that I must gift it to you. Well, of course I wept. And I said, you know, I knew Ali, I connected with Ali through Facebook, so it was even more of a gift. And so she posted it to me, and I'm going to send her one of my little handmade kafirs, which are also on the table, and you can buy one of those. And by the way, everything I'm doing with Brutiful Tales, I am currently funding myself. Hence, I do have a crowdfunder. You can scan the code on that lovely new pull-up banner and make any donations you like. You can purchase something from the table, and 20% will go to Brutiful Tales. But I'm crowdfunding this at the moment until I've got space to apply for some funding. I plan on taking this a long way. This is a long, silky road ahead. And on that point, let's have a long, silky road, shall we? So I've been talking about the Silk Road. As if by magic, it's the right slide. Silk Roads. The Silk Road project started here in 2008, right here in Sutton. My first crazy idea. Oh, we need a participatory art project. Oh, okay, let's do a 10-meter long silk painting. I had a 2-day workshop experience in silk painting 4 years prior, and I'd never silk painted since. But I figured that, you know, doing a 10-meter long Silk Road was a cool thing to do. And this is the very first Silk Road, painted right outside the St. Nicholas Centre, not far away. Wonderful, look at that. If one of you rolls it, if you roll it a little bit up, you can just waft it left and right above everybody's heads. Just look up, everybody, as it comes over your heads. Give it a nice little look. Go to this way, yeah. That's it. And have a look at that. So this was painted, designed by community groups, designed by people on housing estates, elderly, disabled. Everyone, play, come, join. You know, we are one community. We all have value. Everyone can doodle something. It was then taken to the high street and painted. So the Silk Road, the iconic Silk Road, which inspired my project, actually was inspired by a dream, but I'm whizzing now because we're coming towards the end. Again, for another talk. So the iconic Silk Road connected China to Istanbul through silk. At the trading posts along the way, communities grew, and languages were exchanged, and ideas were exchanged, and religions were exchanged, and of course there was lots of robbery and death and destruction because, you know, life is brutal, right? But I was really inspired by the iconic Silk Road and how the world developed so quickly because of it, and how communities came together, and how everything grew, and how everybody connected. As I said, you can take photos. So the Silk Road, from the main Silk Road, the tributary that went down to Jerusalem to the coast near Jaffa, where my dad was born, there's a separation wall running right through that now at Abu Dis. Cool, hey? No. And that brings us on to what we've been doing since since I returned with the Brutiful Tales project, since my friend said to me, how would you describe this trip to Palestine in one word? And I said, well, you know, it was beautiful and it was brutal. So that made it Brutiful. I'm not the first person to come up with this word, by the way. You can look it up. Lots of people use the word Brutiful. So here I am now, 2008. Where are we now? 2025? How many years later is that? 17 years later? See, you couldn't plan it. You couldn't make this stuff up. I had no idea when I was inspired to do this project by a dream. This project traveled around for a couple of years, Hackbridge, Carshalton, various places, Chagstock Festival. I even took it over to Florida to my sister's Down syndrome charity, and we made a Silk Road over there. 17 years later, here I am with Dina Sawalha. That's a Sawalha sister there in the corner, who I knew 50 years ago. You couldn't make this up. That is 5 meters of silk in my hand. This is 10. That's how small it is. You have to wash it first, and then you go through a process of designing. All these artworks are the originals that audiences have contributed to date. They're visual or verbal, written responses. The arms that you see on the wall under there belong to Slimane Mansour. We're going to get to him in a moment. So you wash it, you design it, and then you use, again, you can't make it up, the outliner you use to design onto the silk, to draw onto the silk, is called a resist. And what are we doing? We are resisting the cruelty. We are resisting the inhumanity, because it's right to resist that. Do not let anybody convince you otherwise. So I spent a few days with Dina, and everything is now on the silk, ready for you guys. You are welcome to come up to the rooftop when we finish and come and help paint. There are still some nibbles outside that you can help yourself to. It'll take us a moment to get everything set up on the roof for the painting of the white silk that you see here. That's one that's downstairs in Patricia Park's office for Enjoy Sutton. That's a 5 meter one. That was painted in the high street here. 800 people got involved in that one. I can't remember how many hundreds of people got involved in that one. I'm all about community and playfulness and creativity. Inspire and share through playfully creative communication. That is what I do. Please donate to my crowdfunder. Help me do my work. Help me spread the love and the joy. I do genuinely come from a good space in my heart. And that is what I want to see. I want to see it better for the good of the whole. And I want us to connect with those communities. And this expands beyond Palestine. It's not just Palestine. It could be Congo, Yemen, Sri Lanka, Tamils. Now we're going to come on to Slimane Mansour. And actually, you can take a photo of this. He'd just been talking about women and the land and the olive trees, and the women have to have big hands. And then we went to see Amal Nasser from the Tent of Nations. You can volunteer at the Tent of Nations. You can spend a year there volunteering, and they house you and feed you. You can spend a week there. Might not be a good idea to go right now, but check the travel advice. They're crying out for volunteers. 5 settlements surround her land, by the way. They cut a road straight through her land, and there's a law, Ottoman law. If you haven't used your land for 3 years, the state claims it. So they make it they put as many obstructions as possible around to prevent you from using your land. Nice. I introduce to you now the globally renowned Palestinian artist, Mr. Slimane Mansour.
I was born in 1947 in Bir Zayt, Birzeit, it's north of Ramallah. Birzeit, when I was born, was a small, beautiful village with a lot of orange, with a lot of olive trees around. And my grandfather, he bought a big land in the wilderness and he built a house there. And I was born in that house, in the middle of the olive trees. I lived there until I was 5 years old. And I'm saying this because I believe that every childhood is important for every artist, affects all his future visions and so on. You used to think that we are Jordanians because we lived under Jordan and you lose your identity. 1972, I started to come back, feeling of being Palestinian. And we met these artists in Ramallah, and everyone he knows another artist somewhere else. So we discovered that there are like 20, 25 Palestinian artists living in the West Bank and Gaza. So we decided to make a union. And then we called it the League of Palestinian Artists Under Occupation. So we started in 1975 to print our works as posters, and that was a successful thing, we did. Because in a short time, my posters and other artists were hanging in every home in Palestine. Once I went to the Israeli museum, they didn't use the word Palestine. They had a dress from Bethlehem exhibited in the museum. They say this is from Bethlehem, and it's from the biblical times. They don't say Palestinian at all. They get something from Jericho. They say this is from Jericho, from the biblical times. Painting on the wall. I know some artists are against it.
Sorry?
Some artists are against it. Because they say that the wall is ugly by itself. So if you paint on it as if you are making it beautiful. I wanted to paint on the wall. But then when I went there, I made a sketch and I went there. So huge, I got afraid. It's too much, you need like 10 people to help.
This would be a project that we would be very happy to help fulfill for you.
Yes. I hope so.
I'm serious. I think everyone else is serious. Yeah, we've got a project, we've got a mural to paint.
Slim Al-Mansour, everybody. Give him a round of applause. And on that note, ladies and gentlemen, I would just like to say the mural that we have to paint you can all hear me, okay, right? Let's bring it into the light, actually. It deserves the light. Is it the right way now? Yes, it is. That's what you wanted to do. So let's just hold the bottom corner so everybody can see that a little bit easier. Do take photographs before it's painted. So those are his arms. So I said to him, what about going and putting it on a wall in London? So then I emailed him, I said, listen, I've been given this opportunity to have an official launch, so I'm going to do the first 5 minutes of Silk Road. What about those arms of yours? And he gave me permission. So the lady here asked, why did this 10-meter-long Silk Road happen in 2008? Because I'd been having dreams about wanting to share my creativity. I wasn't I didn't study art. I don't even have O-level art. I've got an AS level in art and textiles that I did when my second son was born in 2004. That's when I did my 2-day silk painting workshop as part of that course. Anyway, I'd been dreaming and I really wanted to be using my creativity more, because when people were seeing what I was making, embellishing, adapting, tweaking, I didn't ever have money for materials and things. I would, what can I do with this? I was making club decor for my husband, who's DJing from 7 o'clock upstairs with some lovely Arabic themed stuff. I was making decor for him and T-shirts and things like that. So I wanted to share my gift more because it was bringing joy to people. I connected with an arts officer in the London Borough of Sutton, and long story short, she brought me in to Friends of the Elderly in Wallington to do a workshop with them as part of the Arts Council England funded project Taking Part Place. She sat in that workshop, came to me and said, there are lots of artists in the borough, but not many of them are people persons? How do you say that? I don't know. Good with people, how about that? So, and she said, Samia, I'd like you to do some more workshops with Sutton Mental Health Foundation, Camperdown and Orchard Hill, who's looking after severely physically disabled students and also the neurodiverse. So that was my in to community arts. And then she invited me to do a participatory arts project for the launch of an arts festival. And she said, I've got a budget. Can you come up with an idea? It's got to engage the people in the high street and the people in the community. And that is how. And actually, as I was walking down, thinking about, I'd been researching the Silk Road just randomly. I was walking down outside our now closed Morrisons. Who misses Morrisons? People locally who are not local, people are complaining about the Morrisons being closed down. So I was thinking, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? Who am I? Little imposter. What am I going to do? And these two ladies come out of Morrisons and I hear right in my ear the earworm. Oh, love, the solution's very often right under your nose. And I heard it and I looked and there were my feet. And where were my feet? They were on the road, the long high street of Sutton. They were on this long road of Sutton. And I just went, oh my God, it's a long road. Oh my God, I remembered a dream. For another time, I'll tell you that story. And I'm going to create a Silk Road. So that's where this came from. Any other questions? Yes, Karen. Well, you never know. I mean, maybe one day, I don't know. But for now, it's here. It's going to be on silk. And whatever comes next. And you know me, Karen, we flow with the go and go with the flow, and life will guide whatever needs to happen next for the good of the whole and for the best. And there's going to be, many of these. I really do see lots of them. All roads lead to Rome. Not today. All roads will lead to Palestine. And they can come from everywhere and anywhere. Any other questions? Someone who hasn't asked a question? Any others? Sorry? Well, I live here, and I love it. And I'm a German, Italian, Palestinian, and Russian who was born in Bromley and actually had a very funny conversation with a neighbour saying what you said. She was moaning many, many years ago, she's a lovely lady. She was actually going through a terrible, terrible time, so please, it was a bad time for her. Anyway, moaning, all these Polish, all these foreigners, all these Eastern Europeans coming here, taking our jobs, taking our flats, taking our. And I looked at her and I went, she's been my neighbour for a long time. I said, you're talking to a German, Italian, Palestinian born in Bromley, don't you? She said, yeah, all right, but you don't look foreign. All right? I didn't know whether I should be more insulted that I looked so English. Sorry, I'm not trying to insult any English people in the room. But yeah, I'm born here. I live here. It's my community. I love it. I love where I live. But I'm willing to travel. I have actually Brutiful Tales conversations lined up with groups, in-person events in Lancashire, Liverpool, Belfast, some inquiries from Surrey, and some more in London. And you can get the Brutiful Tales event into your community quite easily just by contacting me. Maybe you're at a school, or you're at a college, or you've run a cultural festival, or some such thing. You can invite me. And, as long as I can get some donations through my crowdfunder and sell some of my bits and pieces, and you can help me deliver this, support my ability to deliver this. This is long term. This is now my life. And that's what October the 7th has given me. It's given me something beautiful out of the brutal. Okay? So it's called post-traumatic growth. We're lucky. They have ongoing traumatic stress disorder. There is nothing post about the trauma that they are living. It's ongoing. So it's up to us to make that different. And that starts within our community, whether it's white middle class, pink middle class, green middle class. I don't give a shit about the class. I don't care. We are all connected. Adam and Eve? I don't know. Where did we all come from? It can do. No. It will spread. With your help. Any other questions? Yes, Elizabeth. Well, now this is the thing. You're talking about, so Elizabeth is a fierce and feisty and has a lot to say, and I love Elizabeth. But what the government are banning is Palestine Action. Because what did Palestine Action do? Naughty, naughty. They broke into, what was the name of the place? Bryce Norton. Oh, top security and some young guys on a bike or a scooter broke in and spray painted plane engines with red paint. Right? So, of course they want to ban Palestine Action because this is terrible. Yes. Right. Okay. So they want to squash any dissenting voices. I mean, Pal Action are taking actual action. I'm a creative activist. I'm a playfully creative activist. I want to reach, like we said, all the people who didn't put their arm up when I said who's been on a march. There were only a few. So my aim is to reach the wider community. And I'm not going to do that by spray painting engines at Bryce Norton or smashing things up or whatever. I'm going to do it my way, like Frank Sinatra. That's what I can. That's all I can say to you. I'm not really into the politics, schmolitics of it. I am aware of all of it, and ultimately, we have to accept what we can't change and carry on and do the best that we can do. Like Lubna and Fida said, they made a decision to continue. They didn't make a decision when it all went down. They didn't say, oh God, we have to give up, or oh God, we have to go and be violent. Even the lady with the hand, Tent of Nations, their resistance is non-violent community. She said to us, they rip up our trees, we plant 10. Non-violent resistance. That's the way of a lot of, and do not give up and keep that hope alive. And I think it's now 1:15, and I'd planned to finish at 1:15. So, ladies and gentlemen, if there are no more questions, I would like to say thank you very, very much, all of you, for being here and opening your hearts and your ears to our words and their words, and for being humankind. And I would just like us all to say, free, free, Palestine, free, free, Palestine, free, free, Palestine. Thank you very much.